officially. Nice introductory chat, I think. That was great. Preparation for today's lesson. And we'll start off with a quote from the Gospel of John on God is love, which is one of the most profound quotes in the whole Bible, which will lead us nicely into today's lesson, which is along the same lines. Okay, so let us dive in then. Where is that gone? Okay, so I'm just going to share my screen. All right, so if you can kick that off for us, Archie, that would be great. You read that quote?
Yep. So whoever does not love does not know God, because God is love.
Very profound quote from the Gospel of John in the New Testament. One of the truest statements in the whole Bible, which also contains a lot of falsity. As we know, the Bible was written over hundreds of years, different authors, clearly a very big difference between a lot of what's written in the Old Testament and the New Testament. And you got to understand that the Bible never existed as one book until several hundred years after Jesus lived, and then it got all put together. And somehow they tried to marry the old with the new and say, well, that's the Old Testament and that's the New Testament. But they're evident contradictions. But John got this truth absolutely right, because if God is love and you cannot love others, then it follows logically that you cannot know God. Jesus put it as, love the Lord your God, all your heart, soul, and mind. But also the second commandment gave was to love your neighbor. Because if you don't love your neighbor, then how can you know that God is love? Hate your neighbor, you deny God. So very, very important caveat. In fact, this is kind of where the rubber meets the road. So it's all very well to say I love God. Yeah, some super being out there who doesn't have a human ego and personality isn't pushing all my buttons, but much more difficult to say I love my wife, my husband, my son, my boss, my co-worker, my friend, who's just done something I'm really upset about. Much, much more difficult. So this is where the real test comes in human relationships. Can we let go of our ego judgments and still feel unconditional love towards that person or people, even when things haven't gone well, even when they've done something we don't like? Because that unconditional love is God. And when we feel that in relation to another person, then we are bringing God into the relationship. And if we don't feel it and we disconnect ourselves from that, then we are denying God. We're denying that unconditional loving presence or awareness is true. So how we react and interact and relate to other people is critical to our spiritual progress. And that's why the Course puts so much emphasis on forgiveness as the primary mechanism in your life and in your relationships to govern those relationships. Because forgiveness leads to unconditional love. So if we can just remember this truth, that to experience unconditional love is to know God, it makes our lives a lot easier in this world, because it removes knowing God from the mystical or unattainable classification to which most people think it falls, places it in a very practical and entirely doable category. Okay, I've just got to forgive others and learn to love them unconditionally, and then I love God. Okay, that's maybe difficult, but at least I know what I have to do. So you might say, well, why is this the case? Because unless you're a hermit, you're interacting with people all the time, and every interaction with another person offers you another opportunity to experience unconditional love and know God in the process. Your ego or belief in separation may think this is a bit of a stretch and not at all practical in the midst of all the busyness and the transactional nature of your daily life. But the truth is that this is the only purpose that will bring any meaningful fulfillment and happiness to your life. The many activities most people engage in every day, we live in a very busy world. And the reason for that is because those activities are designed by the ego to keep your mind very preoccupied with illusions and unable to recognize the truth that you are unconditional love, and so is everybody else. After all, if you're always thinking about what you've done, what you still have to do now, your awareness is fixed on the timeline of consciousness illustrated in the diagram below, and you're experiencing the usual negative thoughts and emotions related to these activities. There is no room for unconditional love to enter your awareness, because we get consumed by all these activities. The ego interprets them for us. We go, oh, this is terrible, it's awful, why is this happening to me? Have this whole story and drama about it. And we forget that this source, this awareness is still there, able to, still accessible, and able to help us reinterpret the situation if we are willing to go into it and experience it. That process of going into it, disconnecting from the illusion, finding the truth again, and then returning into the dream world and changing our minds, changing our perception, is forgiveness. That's essentially what it is. That symbolized here by the arrow of the Holy Spirit, which is the Holy Spirit's letting go of forgiveness, and through that it reinterprets the situation for you. So by seeing through the distracting nature of the many activities in which you engage every day to the truth of unconditional love that underlies them and is there in every situation, you peel away the veil of illusion that darkens your mind, and you allow yourself to know God by experiencing unconditional love moment by moment. So you might go, okay, so how does this actually work in practice? Give me an example. Okay, so give an example. You may be at the bank interacting with a teller, a cashier in the supermarket, a waiter at a restaurant. And instead of being preoccupied with getting your problem sorted out, putting your shopping in bags and paying your bill, often with some attendant negative emotions like frustration and irritation. We all know about queuing at banks and supermarkets and so on, but that can push buttons. You could just pause for a moment, take a deep breath, and connect with the empty, open, spacious awareness that's in you, that's already there, which is the essence of love. And then as you exhale, extend this feeling outwards to the person as you look at them, as you speak to them, and remind yourself that deep inside them there resides the same unconditionally loving awareness as you're experiencing within you. That now creates a whole different experience. The anger, the frustration, the judgment, the fear, anxiety, whatever else is arising, is let go of and replaced with this empty, open, spacious awareness instead. And that replacement, that process is called forgiveness or letting go. So feeling this loving presence is unconditional love, which is strengthened whenever you recognize it in another person. So whenever we connect to this loving presence, then we're in unconditional love. We can't help but feel it, And if you recognize it in someone else, you obviously strengthen it in your own mind, which is why yesterday's lesson was all the gifts that I give, I receive. I'm blessed by whatever I give. So I give unconditional love to someone else, and I receive it in the same moment. And so I'm blessed by my own unconditional love of that person, which comes back into my own awareness and helps me find peace and love and joy and happiness. So unconditional love is never about a subjective you, a little self, in other words, the ego, loving another objective person or sentient being. It might be a dog, a cat, another animal, nature, a tree, whatever. That's apparently separate from you. You can't really love anyone or anything if it's separate from you. If you define it as separate, then it's not unconditional love. Then you're in dualistic perception. You see yourself as separate from it. You see it as outside of you, and then it's not you anymore. And that other person or thing can could potentially be beneficial, but it could also be a threat to you. And so you perceive it as separate, and usually what comes with that is a degree of fear, separation, potential for problems. You don't trust fully because you define that person incorrectly as an illusion. So in fact, if you perceive other people as really being separate people, you've lost the true meaning of unconditional love and will only be able to experience life on the mundane, practical, and transactional level that really cannot fulfill your soul's yearning for divine or unconditional love. So we can try practicing this. It's a simple exercise you can do any day, especially if you're going out in a day. You're going to go to the shops. You're going to interact with seeming strangers. You can really say, well, that's the purpose of engagement. I'm going to the shops to buy food on one level, but my real purpose is a holy encounter with the cashier, maybe someone else in the supermarket. You just don't know. Just be open to that. To learn this simple but powerful truth of unconditional love experientially by perceiving the situation, the person correctly. You learn the truth of unconditional love as yourself experientially. So try practicing it. You can do it every day. You could make it a daily practice. Usually you're going to interact with one or more people, other people in a day. It's common unless completely isolated. So whoever that is, well, I'm going to connect with this this unconditional love feeling for them. And in the process, I'm going to learn it. I'm going to bless myself with that feeling. And the more that I feel that feeling, the more I learn that feeling is always there, that feeling actually is the ultimate truth. And the more I learn to accept it and embrace it. This need only take a few seconds of your time. So literally as you're interacting, instead of being distracted or thinking some negative thoughts about them, you can direct your mind to think in a very positive way about the person, the situation. And this is going to lift your daily experience of life to an entirely different level. Right? This is the miraculous, the corrective level that we call miracles. Extraordinary, ordinary is another label that I've used because it's just ordinary life, nothing special. You're just going to the shops, you're meeting someone else. But that ordinary encounter becomes extraordinary when you forgive and when you bring unconditional love into it. But don't take my word for it. You just need to try it for yourself. It's something that you're only really going to learn from this if you actually do it. So the exercise is very simple. Anyone can do it in any situation in which they're interacting with another person. So the only question becomes, will you remember to do it whenever you're physically present with or communicating with them? That could be speaking to on the phone, texting someone, emailing them, any form of communication. There's the opportunity for of the holy encounter and for unconditional love to come into it. So it applies as much to people that you're with physically as to those who you're not. You're just thinking about them, communicating with them. You can apply the same lesson. And if you do that every time you think of a person, every time you speak to a person today, that's quite a lot of spiritual practice. That might be 5, 10, 20 minutes, who knows, depending on how many encounters you have. But right now, we're going to go through the process in a meditation. I'm going to guide you through this process of interacting with someone who's not physically there, but you are interacting with, have had an interaction. Pick someone who is challenging. Maybe they push some buttons. You find it difficult to love them. You find it difficult to overlook their apparent sins. That's the right person to choose, because that is exactly what the miracle is for the misperceptions of separation, to help you correct them. So that brings us nicely into our live session for today. We've done our expression, we've done the quote and the related message. So let's have a look at the workbook lesson then for today. See if I can find it. Where are we? That. There we go. Alrighty. So very, very simple, again, very short, simple, sweet teaching. So one of you read it in the original and then the other in the alternative. Kim, why don't you kick off with the original? Okay.
There is no love but God's. There is no
Archie.
Yep, there is no love but perfect love or abundance.
Yeah, so there is no love but God's. Again, what does that mean? What does God mean? But the alternative describes it quite well. There is no love but perfect love. There is no love but perfect love or abundance. We're calling perfect love abundance because it brings us into the idea of no order, difficulty, and miracles. Anything's possible. There's just this limitless awareness that can help us solve any and all problems. All right, so there is no love but God's. Archie, if you can read that slide.
Mm-hmm. There is no love but God's. This idea has implications for all that is not God's love. If there is no love except God's love, then one, all that does not look like God's love isn't real. It
should be a has version. It has no power to it.
It has no power to hurt us. 2, God's love shines away all that is not like his love.
So it shines it all away. It helps us realize the truth. We just have to learn to let go of illusions. That becomes critical. If you think illusions are real, then you'll think that God's love is not real. And you see, it's a choice. So you see this bright shining light, and here you see the Yeah, I think that symbolizes the wind blowing the roof off a house. That's what it looks like. So in other words, a disaster. If you focus on that, then you forget about God's love. You say, how could God do this? It's a disaster. It's terrible. Why has this happened to me? Oh, woe is me, and so on and so on. So our job becomes to let go of that misperception. When we let go of the misperception, we can reconnect with God's love, which is still there. It's never gone away. It's just obscured now by all of our self-created illusions in the world. All right, so let's dive into paragraph 1 then. Perhaps you think. So, Archie, maybe you want to read the original, Kim read the alternative.
Perhaps you think that different kinds of love are possible.
Perhaps I think that different kinds of love or abundance are possible.
Perhaps you think there is a kind of love for this, a kind for that, a way of loving one, another way of loving still another.
Perhaps I think there is a kind of love for this, a kind for that, a way of loving one person and another way of loving someone else.
Love is one.
Love or abundance is one.
It has no separate parts and no degrees, no kinds nor levels, no divergences and no distinctions.
It has no separate parts and no degrees, no kinds nor levels, no divergencies and no distinctions.
It is like itself, unchanged throughout.
It is like itself, unchanged throughout.
It never alters with a person or a circumstance.
It never changes with a person or circumstance.
It is the heart of God and also of his Son.
It is the heart of perfect love or abundance and also of its extension.
And from the top.
Perhaps I think that different kinds of love or abundance are possible. Perhaps I think there is a kind of love for this, a kind for that, a way of loving one person and another way of loving someone else. Love or abundance is one. It has no separate parts and no degrees, no kinds nor levels, no divergencies and no distinctions. It's like itself and changed throughout, never changes with a person or circumstance. It is the heart of perfect love or abundance and also of its extension.
Okay, so thoughts on that?
Well, it's saying there's actually only one kind of love. We might perceive there's different kinds of loves, but there's actually just one. And it's from whether it's from source or its extension, which is us, it's all one, it's all the same.
Yeah, that's all we've got to see. It's one love, it's one abundance, it's one awareness. And there's no difference in that. No kinds, no levels, no divergencies, all that, no distinctions. Which of course completely undoes the ego, because the ego is all about the levels and the divergencies and the distinctions and degrees and so on. This just collapses all that into perfect oneness that is unchanging and unchangeable.
What does that look like?
Well, it means you just you don't believe in the degrees and the kinds and the levels and the divergencies and the distinctions anymore. You don't let those affect you.
It's like, what are those?
Well, all of the things we encounter in a typical day in an ordinary human life. You're in a relationship, and then relationship isn't going so well, and there's an issue. There's some point of disagreement. Someone's done something you don't like. You've not happy about it. All of that speaks to parts, degrees, kinds, levels, divergencies, distinctions. Oh, I'm not the same as this other person because look at what they've done. How dare they do such a thing to me? Okay, so immediately there's a separation there. I'm separating myself from them in my perception. I am the separate person to whom this is now being done. I am the victim of the situation. Let's say something has been done to you, so I define myself as separate, and they are the perpetrator. So they are in the wrong, I'm in the right. They are the persecutor. They are evil. They're guilty. They're sinful. They deserve to be punished. And I'm the innocent victim. All of that is divergence or oneness. All of that is about differences and distinctions and degrees. Do you see that? So forgiveness just collapses all that and says, no, none of that's true. It's just a story you made up. The whole illusion is just a projection of the mind, of these images outward to try and convince you that this story of separation is true, but it's not, irrespective of whatever is happening in the dream world. These are just dream figures, dream characters acting out according to an insane script that the ego is directing. But you don't have to believe that script. But you can't believe that script. If you're going to wake up, you cannot believe that script because that script denies the truth of who you really are. So it's a choice between the ego's story and the Holy Spirit's reinterpretation of it. The illusion versus the truth, always. Okay, does that answer the question? Hopefully. Shall we go to number 2 then? So
Love's meaning is obscure to anyone who thinks that love can change.
Love's meaning is obscure to anyone who thinks that love or abundance can change.
He does not see that changing love must be impossible.
They do not perceive that changing love or abundance must be impossible.
And thus he thinks that he can love at times and hate it at other times.
And so they think they can love at times and hate at other times.
He also thinks that love can be bestowed on one and yet remain itself, although it is withheld from others.
They also think that love or abundance can be bestowed on one person and yet remain itself, although it is withheld from others.
To believe these things of love is not to understand it.
To believe these things about love or abundance is not to understand it.
If it could make such distinctions, it would have to judge between the righteous and the sinner, perceive the Son of God in separate parts.
If it could make such distinctions, it would have to judge between the righteous and the sinner and perceive the extension of perfect love or abundance in separate parts. So from the top, love's meaning is obscure to anyone who thinks that love or abundance can change. They do not perceive that changing love or abundance must be impossible. and so they think they can love at times and hate at other times. They also think that love or abundance can be bestowed on one person and yet remain itself, although it is withheld from others. To believe these things about love or abundance is not to understand it. If it could make such distinctions, it would have to judge between the righteous and the sinner and perceive the extension of perfect love or abundance in separate parts.
Okay, so thoughts on that?
Yeah, so what it's saying is if you think that love has, you know, distinctions where you can you know, give it and withhold it, then it means that you perceive the extension then you know, perceive love to be in separate parts.
Yeah, which is is how the ego works. We're just trying to separate, fragment. You think you can, you know, love certain people and hate other people, and love at certain times and hate at other times. You know, we've all been in family environments, you know. So it can switch from love to hate at any point. You know, oh, I love you, it's all good. Oh, I hate you so much. You know, and this is the illusion. This is how the ego works. We have to see it as the illusion that it is. Special love is not love. Because special love is simply, I like you for now, as long as you're doing what I want you to do. That's really what special love is.
Yeah.
As long as you serve my purpose as I define it, and you're playing the game as I want you to play it, then I love you. But if you don't do that, then I don't love you anymore. Then my love turns to anger, frustration, hatred, even. So it was never love to start with. It was just, well, you know, I love you because of what you can do for me. No, I love you because I am you, because I see the essence in you beyond all of these illusions, and I hold to that no matter what. Oh, I get confused by the illusion of the relationship, of form, of the circumstances, and everything that's designed to obscure the truth of perfect love or abundance. We got to realize that the ego has set up a world precisely to obscure this love. That's what it's designed to do. To make us judge between the righteous and the sinner, perceive the extension of perfect love or abundance in separate parts. A very fragmented perception of reality, of other people, and of ourselves. That splits us off from the whole. We can't be one with people if we see them as separate and different from us. So this is really absolutely fundamental to our perception daily and to our lives. He's questioning probably the most fundamental perception we have is of self and other. Oh, this is me and this is you, right? We learn that at a very young age. In the first couple of years of life, we learn to distinguish between self, myself, and another person. That's the, you know, the first start of the development of the ego. Till that point, there's an innocence in babies that's lovely, but as soon as they become self-identified, they lose that. And of course, there's various psychological theories. This is all normal. You have to do it. Yes, in the world, sure. You know, if you never learn that you're a separate self, it's going to be quite difficult to operate. But the tragedy of that is you forget who you are in that moment. And then the world starts to teach you its ways. And that, you know, that's just the human journey. Every child does it. We do that into adulthood, and our job is at some point to question that and say, well, maybe that's just not true. Maybe actually that pure innocence that you can see in a baby, a newborn baby in its first few weeks, months, hasn't developed that ego yet, hasn't identified with itself yet. And so there's a purity and an innocence there. But as soon as that self-identification happens, that's lost. And now it becomes identified with a separate self, and the ego's thought system rules. And you might say, well, how can you possibly overcome that? Well, as a child, impossible, right? You have to go through that process. But as an adult, you can question that, and you can reverse that, and you can go back to that original innocence, that is the truth that you had when you were first born, and you can restore your mind to that. Even that you're an adult and you understand the ways of the world, you can be reborn into that innocence, which is where the whole idea of rebirth comes in. Being reborn as an innocent child, not self-identified anymore, just identified with the oneness that unites us all. Easier said than done, but this is what he's asking us to do, for good reason, because that perception of self and other defines the ego. That keeps you in the ego's thought system. As long as you're thinking self-other, there's a split, there's a separation, and the ego's in charge. So this goes to the very heart of the human condition, doesn't it? We define ourselves as, this is me, and this is someone else. Why? Because they seem to be outside of me in a different body, so therefore we're separate. And he's saying, what if that's not true? What if that's just an illusion? Pretty radical stuff, really. It questions the very fabric of our existence as human in a world that defines us as human. It questions all of that, and that's the whole point. It questions the fundamental assumptions on which this world of illusion is based, because we have to question those assumptions if we're going to undo them and the world. Okay? Any other thoughts or comments on that one? Let's go to number 3 then. Love cannot judge.
Love cannot judge.
Love or abundance cannot judge.
As it is one itself, it looks on all as one.
As it is one itself, it perceives all form as one.
Its meaning lies in oneness.
Its meaning lies in oneness.
And it must elude the mind that thinks of it as partial or in part.
And it must elude the mind that thinks of it as partial or in part.
There is no love but God's, and all of love is his.
There is no love but perfect love's, and all of love or abundance is included in it.
There is no other principle that rules where love is not.
There is no other principle that rules where love or abundance is absent.
Love is a law without an opposite.
Love is a law without an opposite.
Its wholeness is the power holding everything as one, the link between the Father and the Son, which holds them both forever as the same.
Its wholeness is the power holding everything as one, the link between the source of abundance and its extension, which keeps them both forever the same. On the top, love or abundance cannot judge. As it is one itself, it perceives all forms as one. Its meaning lies in oneness, and it must elude the mind that thinks of it as partial or in part. There is no love but perfect love's, and all of love or abundance is included in it. There is no other principle that applies where love or abundance is absent. Love is a law without an opposite. Its wholeness is the power holding everything as one. A link between the source of abundance and its extension, which keeps them both forever the same.
Okay, thoughts on that?
So there's what's saying is that it's neither love but perfect love, which is oneness. So it's not a judging one. It doesn't see itself as separate to others. It's as one. There's no opposite. It's all the same.
Yeah, and can you see the power in that? Because all of the drama, all of the pain, all of the suffering in life comes from separation. Comes from one idea that you've believed, and then that idea plays itself out in all these different scenarios. But the Course is training us to see the real problem. The real problem isn't the fact that someone said or did something. The problem is the belief system that caused them to do that and that you believe in. That's the problem. You believe in the idea of separation. They might have believed in separation as well. And then they do something that's unkind. And now you feel wounded. Right. But underneath all of that is a belief in separation. Right? They are a separate self. You're a separate self. They can really do something to harm you. They can hurt the little separate self that you've identified yourself as. And then you react accordingly to that belief, because that's what it is. It's a belief. Also saying we can question that from the perspective of perfect oneness or love and let it go and realize that that is just false. That whole construct of the mind is simply not true. And there isn't really no other principle than perfect love or abundance. That's the ultimate truth. And so we can accept that in every situation without making exceptions, then we awaken. Our struggle is that we get tested and the ego comes and says, no, this really isn't the case because look at what has happened. Look at what that person has done. That's outrageous. It's totally unacceptable. Can't do it. No. And then you forget that underneath that, there's still only perfect love or abundance. That's still there, and that these laws of separation that are being shown to you are all false, just designed to pull you into the belief, once again, that you're a separate self who can actually be hurt by all of this chaos that's seemingly happening around you. Very, very, very cunning, very insidious. But once you know the game, once you understand what the ego's up to, it's a lot easier to deal with, isn't it? Because, okay, I get it. I see what you're up to again. Okay. You just created this drama, and now you're trying to get me to believe in it, and you want to get me upset and believing in its reality. And okay, like I get it. I can see exactly what's going on. So no, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm not going to fall into the trap anymore because it's a trap. It's tricking you into believing in its thought system. So you identify with yourself as a separate self. So then you stay within its thought system of separation, which means you're under its control, which means that it continues to exist in and through your mind. And that's its only existence. So it clings to that existence for all it's worth, because that's its identity, that's its existence, that's its life. Without your belief in it, it would simply cease to exist. And it wants to exist even though it doesn't exist. It's a parasite that has no real purpose other than to cause misery and pain and suffering. But the parasite wants to carry on existing. It wants to carry on sucking the blood of its host, because that's what a parasite does, right? That's what it's built to do. So in the same way, that's what the ego is built to do. Don't expect anything different from it. Just understand the game that it's playing, and then you can refuse to play that game, which is exactly what this course is training us to do. as he says, no course whose purpose is to teach you to remember what you really are could fail to emphasize that there can never be a difference in what you really are and what love is. All right. So who wants to read the alternative of that?
No course whose purpose is to teach me to remember what I really am could fail to emphasize that there can never be a difference in what I really am and what love or abundance is.
And Kim, if you pick it up from number 2 in the original.
Love's meaning is your own and shared by God himself.
Love's meaning is my own and shared by pure formless awareness of perfect love or abundance itself.
For what you are is what he is.
For what I am is what it is.
There is no love but his, and what he is everything there is.
There is no love or abundance but its, and it is everything there is.
There is no limit placed on himself, and so are you unlimited as well.
It does not limit itself, and so I am unlimited as well. Jonathan, on line 3, if you just add awareness after pure formless.
Right, well spotted. Right.
Sorry, shall I read that from the top?
Yeah, do that, please.
No course whose purpose is to teach me to remember what I really am could fail to emphasize that there can never be a difference in what I really am and what love or abundance is. Love's meaning is my own and shared by pure formless awareness of perfect love or abundance itself. For I am what it is. There is no love or abundance but its, and it is everything, and it is everything there is. It does not limit itself, and so I am unlimited as well.
Oh, so thoughts on that? Quite powerful
Yeah,
stuff, this lesson.
yeah.
We've heard the truth before, but it needs to be said over and over and over again because we're prone to forgetting it.
Yeah. So keep remembering that you are love. So I am love.
I am this loving awareness that underlies everything. So it doesn't matter what's going on the level of form, the chaos that the ego's created. I am still that abundance and that loving awareness. And I just have to go into that state of mind within me, find it, and everything's okay. If I can find that place, that state, let's be accurate with our words, in my mind, then everything's okay. It doesn't matter what goes on in the world and what chaos is happening and what illusions the ego spins. I'm not going to believe in them. It's not going to affect me. But the ego gives us a good run for our money, doesn't it? It's going to do its best to try and convince us that no, there's an exception to this. This really matters. This is really important. How can you not be upset by this? This is terrible. Blah 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 blah. Because then you violate this truth. You violate the truth of love or abundance. You now believe in separation and a separate self. And it's like, great, got you back in my fold. Let's go down this dark alley into fear and guilt and sin and attack thoughts. And great. The more you go there, the more in control I am of your mind. And that's all I want. Never mind that you're completely miserable and disconnected from your source. Doesn't care about that. It only wants to exist in and through your negative thoughts and emotions. Remember that. That's the ego's whole agenda. To exist in the misery of itself. And you have to kind of go, well, what is the point of that? Exactly. What is the point of that? There's no point to it. It's just a miserable, self-created, illusory existence that, compared with perfect love or abundance, has no reality, and has no meaning, and we really don't want it. We just have to realize that ourselves and make the choice against it ourselves. That choice against it is forgiveness or letting go. We have to be really vigilant in this world, don't we? Because so easy to get sucked in.
Yeah.
That's what the world is designed for. It's designed to suck you in to its illusions, believe in them, and then identify yourself as a separate self because of the process. You see how it works. I get triggered, I'm getting fearful, I'm getting upset, and now immediately those thoughts and emotions identify me as a separate self. See what happens? So, okay, now you're believing not in love or abundance, you're believing in separation and a separate self. But we're not aware of that. We're just aware that I'm anxious or I'm upset or I'm frustrated. No, you've just identified again with the separate self and with the whole belief system of separation. That's what you've done. So very, very cunning, insidious thought system. I mean, if you're going to make up a thought system to get lost in that thought system, you would do this. You would do exactly what the ego's done, and invent this whole alternate reality where apparently the reality of a separate self is true. Apparently, guilt and sin and fear and attack are true, and now those are played out in the seemingly external world that you've created. You seem to be a separate self, subject to all of this craziness and chaos, and continuously vulnerable because anything can and does happen to you, and all of that now seems to be real, and seems to confirm that you really are a separate self living this helpless, innovative little life of limitation, lack, loneliness, suffering, and inevitably death. But what a mind job! I mean, what has it done to us? All from one tiny mad idea, and then we end up, as the victims of a cruel world. 15 billion years later, like wondering, like, what the hell am I even doing here? Have you ever wondered, like, this is the question, what am I even doing here? Like, why do I even exist as a human being on this planet called Earth, circling around the sun in some solar system in a galaxy that's one of so-called billions of galaxies? I mean, it's just so random. It's so weird, isn't it? You're like, what the hell is even going on here? Like, why do we even exist? Like, what's the point of living on a planet going round and around the sun 80, 90 times, and then you die? Like if you really look at it from that perspective, it doesn't make a lot of sense, does it?
Yeah.
You're like, so what's the point of all of it? And the Course gives us the answer. It says there is no point other than being a separate self. That was the point. You wanted to be a separate self. You chose that reality instead of oneness. Then you miscreated an entire universe based on that false idea, and now you seemingly live in it according to the rules that you made up. And you're not very happy because those rules aren't true. And those rules limit you, and they restrict you, and they make you suffer, and they make you die. And you just got to wake up and realize that none of that is true. It's your own nightmare that you've miscreated, and that the truth is still available, still there.
But it's really interesting, Jonathan, because some people I've listened to have said, oh, you're so lucky to be living at this time, sort of that, and so again, I've been asking myself, this question, and some people say, oh, your purpose is to share your unique, talents and gifts, with the world, and but I see now that, is it true that we are, we only have this existence until we truly awaken to who we really are? So is that the idea, that we just keep coming back, to
Reincarnation means you're still confused about who you are.
So
You
really
come
it's
back
not
because
that,
you still think you're a separate self. You still want the separate self, so you come back into a body, into a world where you can play that out, where you can be a separate self, because that's what you wanted. And it's only going to change when you make a choice otherwise, to say, I don't want that anymore. This isn't This isn't the life, the reality that I want. What those people are touching on. Yes, you're here to share your unique gifts and talents with the world. Yes, in the service of what? In the service of awakening.
Yes. Okay.
Right. With the higher purpose of, yes, I'm here to wake up myself and to wake everyone else up as best I can, using whatever gifts and talents that I happen to have. So the specialness of the ego that gives me these apparently separate gifts and talents is reinterpreted by the Holy Spirit as very useful for the awakening. That's how it uses those gifts.
Yeah.
If you think that you're a really special self, oh, and I'm so special, and I just got to spread my specialness in the world, and everyone's got to like love my specialness, and no, you've missed the point.
Yeah.
Because then you're just identified with being a separate self as an ego, and you're wanting validation of that from other people in the world, and you're gonna live a hard life, because a lot of the time you won't get that validation. Even if you see the life of a lot of celebrities, oh, I'm so special. Yeah, but the downside of that is, yes, and people have a go at you, and they attack you, and they feel like they can have a pop at you on social media. And if you're identified with that special self, it can be devastating because you take it personally. You're like, well, how can they? I'm supposed to be all special and wonderful, and the light shines out of every orifice, and I'm so amazing. And then, of course, inevitably, someone's going to go, nah, you're just a an idiot, or you're just a imposter, or whatever. And they'll criticize you because you set yourself up for that, because you said I'm so special. So, like, well, of course, that's how the ego plays the game. You want to be so special, and then someone's going to prick that bubble and say, oh, no, you're not. You're just a loser, or you're just useless, or like, I don't like you, or I hate you, or blah blah blah. Because that's the program. That's what it does. The only way out of that is to say, my only job is to awaken to who I am. That's it. To who I really am, not another illusion of who I am. Not like another false version of me. This is where the personal growth industry goes so wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, no, we're going to give you a better version of a false self. No, but the problem is it's still false. So you're still going to have all of the issues of the ego, and you only have to look at celebrities, our favorite teacher Donald Trump, etc. These kinds of people. It's like, no, you haven't really got it. Yeah, you become this very, very special self, but like, are you happy? Are you contented? Are you living an inspired and inspiring life? No. So you haven't really got it. You just become a better version, seemingly better version of a separate self, but you're probably even more lost, because now the specialness of that self seems to be so special and important that you've forgotten the truth of who you really are that underlies that. So fairly obvious, if you look honestly at the world around us, and you see people who followed that path, you can see it doesn't work. You can see that that's not the formula for happiness, clearly. So just wake up and realize, none of this is going to work. Nothing in the thought system of separations, and none of the red arrows, none of the red boxes, none of that is going to work to bring you happiness, peace, love, joy, what you really want. All of that is leading you the wrong way into the helpless, enervated little life of limitation, lack, loneliness, suffering, and inevitably death, because that's where it all ends up. Doesn't matter how special yourself is, guess what? You're going to die. So that alone should make us really question it, shouldn't it? Okay, I could be this amazing special self, and the world could say amazing, mate, but then I'm going to die. So the story's over. So then what? So what does it really mean? I was a special self for whatever, 60, 70, 80 years. Amazing, yeah. But then I die, and I'm forgotten, and like, who really cares? And so what was the point of the whole adventure? And, most people don't have the courage to ask those questions. Because it's a bit like, well, some people have said the course is really depressing because, like, there's no hope in the world. But precisely, that's the whole point. There is no hope in the world. That's the whole point. That's what you've got to get, right? If you think there's hope in the world, guess what? You're going to come back again and again and again, trying to find hope in the world. And you're going to be disappointed time and time and time again. So he has to, educate us into removing all hope in the world, saying like you can't have hope in this disaster of a thought system. It's clearly disastrous from the start, from the we didn't know what we were doing when we first thought of it, but now we've played it out to its fullest extent. Clearly, it's a car crash. It's a disaster. Surely you can see that. You're saying, look, just like you need to just be really honest and see that, because once you've seen it, there's your way out immediately. You say, okay, so like I don't want this anymore. Great. Now you've made the only choice you can really make. No, I don't want this. I choose my original self. I choose the truth instead, which is still there, but it's just been obscured by this ridiculous idea of separation. It's got way out of control, and it's caused all kinds of havoc in the mind. But fortunately, none of that's true. It's just a bad dream from which we can awaken whenever we're ready to. Someone once said to me, how long is this going to take? How long will it take for me to be enlightened? And what do you think my answer was?
As long as it takes.
As long as you want it to take.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. Okay, you want to still be a separate self because you still value that, then it's going to take you a very long time because you still want to be a separate self and you still want to play this game. When you've really had enough and you said, okay, I'm done, enough, because I've suffered too much, it's enough, then you awaken. It's as simple as that. There's a process to that that might play out over years, but there's a shift in your mind. It's like, I'm done. You know what I mean? Enough already, because this is just insanity and it doesn't work. And I'm done with it. And we all have to come to that point. When you come to that point and you really make that choice, that's awakening. That is the fundamental choice we have to make. Yeah, the ego might come back and try and pull you in again, but you've made the choice, and then you just got to keep making it. Don't get sucked back in to its dream and into believing any of this, because everything in the red boxes, everything in the red arrows is false. It's not true. It's a lie. It's an illusion. It's a dream. It doesn't really exist. This is what the Course is teaching us. So thank God for that. None of the disaster is really true. How lucky are we that that is actually the truth? That there is an untouched state of mind within us that we can return to, that's pure and holy and complete, and we can just rest in that forever, in eternity, and just let go of this entire nightmare. That's salvation. That's awakening. But most people don't want to go that far. They seek some kind of salvation in the world. They're seeking to make the world better. And they seek and they seek, and they'll never truly find the answer. Because the answer isn't in form. You can't find the answer in an illusion. You can only find it in the truth. If you look at, they've just had the World Cup in America, so it's pertinent. You look at American society. There's a society that's dedicated itself to trying to make the world better, right? Let's try and find the answer in the world. And so we go down this whole path, and we develop all this technology and all these multi-million-dollar companies and whatever. And do we really have the answer? The answer is no. You don't have the answer. Very clearly not the answer. It's an overall not a society that's particularly happy, peaceful, functional. Any society can elect Donald Trump as its president is clearly fairly deluded, right? So very problematic. Whereas societies that dedicated themselves to a truth beyond the illusion, have worked much better, much more functional. You think of some of the eastern sides. Well, a lot of them become westernized, but there's an original community. Let's take the blue zones. They dedicate their life to a deeper truth. There's something beyond this world, but we can live with that knowing in this world. Okay, it's fine. We can live, and we can live quite happily and functionally. But they're all faith-based. There's all something deeper, a faith in something beyond this world. All of them, without exception, have. So if you're missing that and it just becomes about the material and making the world better, you're missing the point. And you can miss the point as a whole society, as we've seen, because everyone just gets on that track, and very few people question it. And if you question it, you're like, well, you're weird. You're not following the norm, and so that cultural norm, the societal norm, becomes how the ego keeps people in control. It's the peer group pressure. Like I've got to fit in to what everyone else is doing. But hang on, everyone else is insane. So, as Krishnamurti said, he said, there's no measure of mental health to be well adjusted to an insane society. Yeah. This is not good. If you're well adjusted to an insane society, then the insane society might go, oh, really good. You're just being a nice patient in an insane asylum and you're well under control. But you're not sane. You're just a slave in the matrix. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
So the people who awaken in the world are difficult. They challenge the status quo. They ask questions, difficult questions, which the powers of the world don't like answering, because they can't answer them, because the answer deconstructs the entire system that they stand for. If you really answer it honestly, and there you see that tension that's played itself out throughout human history between the normal world, the ego world. And then every now and then you get someone who comes along who just goes, no, this is all BS. It's not true. And everyone's like, wow, you're a radical, you're a revolutionary, or you're the son of God, you're an amazing spiritual master, whatever. They just saw the truth, and they were just honest enough to speak it. And, question the entire construct, which is obviously not going to be popular with the ego. But if you're popular with the ego, then you're not awakening. It's as simple as that. You are going to be at odds with the ego, always. If you're awakening, you're going in the opposite direction from it. All right, so let's go back then, shall we? So that to summarize, that's our purpose. Yeah, we can use all of our life, whatever we've learned, our gifts, our talents, whatever resources we have, relationships. We can use it all for the one purpose that it's really for, which is awakening. And that gives us our only real purpose in this world. Everything else is false. Again, people might say, oh, that's too radical. What about there's art, there's music, there's some good things. Yeah, but use it for awakening. That's its purpose.
Yeah.
So yeah, all of that all good. You can use music, you can use art. In fact, they're great tools for awakening if you know how to use them. They can really help. In fact, going back to, you probably didn't watch the World Cup final yesterday.
No.
But in the middle, it was quite amazing. Kim, I don't know if you watched it. They had this sort of 20-minute interlude, as I suppose they would in America. Other people just talk and whatever. But they had this show. So they have like various artists like Madonna and Shakira and Justin Timberlake, but they had this message on the field of love. It was amazing at the end. They had this banner that just said love, and then they had pattern on the screen said love, love, love. I was like, really? Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it was so cool. I was like, there we go. There's the truth. There's the truth, right? Appearing in the heart of this, in the middle of this game, and it's made an appearance. And obviously, someone has had some spiritual awareness. Whoever was designing the ceremony, it was like, okay, this is an opportunity to spread a good message into the world, and it came in. And I'm like, wow, that was the highlight of the whole game, because the game was pretty average, to be honest. And the Argentinians were anything but love, incredibly dirty. And in the end, so there's the contrast. Halftime, you have this love, and everyone's feeling good, and then after extra time, as it went to extra time, the Argentinians are literally punching the Spanish because they lost.
They'd finished the game, and then this guy just came in and leaned into this Spanish player.
Just dipping because he's lost.
It was over. It was over.
Dude, grow up. Like, you lost,
Yeah.
And you were well beaten. They were the much better side. If you'd won that game, it would have been a travesty of football. You know, you didn't have one shot like 10 minutes before the end. They hadn't had one
So what was
one
the
shot
score?
on one shot, not one shot on goal, not one the whole game. That was how.
What was the score, Jonathan? What was?
It was 1-0
1-0
to Spain in extra time, but it was 0-0 at full time. Argentina
really?
were very defensive because
Yeah.
they just literally just defended, and
Okay.
Spain went at them, and they managed to keep them out. But it was like you can't, and then they got a guy sent off, and that was justified because the guy he chirped, he'd said something to the referee, so he got his first yellow card because he'd said something untoward, and then he did a rash challenge and got his second one, and then you could see it's like, oh my god, like what? It's like, you idiots, you know, you shouldn't have done that. Neither, you shouldn't have done the chirp. That was totally unnecessary. You lost your discipline, and then you're on a yellow card. Like, don't go charging in and turn the guy topsy turvy. The Spanish player literally went head over heels, bang, and you know it was like a proper like where's your head, dude? Like, think. And so then they were down to 10 men after that, which means, okay, you've got to defend, right? You can't really play an expensive attacking game with 10 men. So you've got to just defend, and it was a matter of time that the Spanish were going to score. But they were just bad losers. It was just appalling, really, to see, like, hang on, you lost the game. Okay, you know what? Chin up. We lost to the better team. Well done, guys. Shake their hands, give them a hug. I'm really pleased that you lost. No. The ego is like, no, I'm going to start throwing punches. Like, duh, like, what's that going to do? That's not going to
at the
make
end,
you
it's
win.
like, you know, how,
just,
okay, obviously, like, the losing, they'll see, like, I suppose, crying, disappointment, collapsing on the floor, or whatever. And the Spanish people are, you know, obviously the Spanish winning team are later, but then the next thing you see, like, okay, there's like starting to be a punch up there. So he actually got a red card, and so the ref actually gave him a red card as well. I mean,
yeah,
even though the game was over,
the game's over, but it means he'll be suspended. But I mean, that's assault, dude. The game's over. You could be prosecuted for assault. You can't just punch someone. So just because it's a football game, like, okay, the game's over. You just assaulted that guy. He could be held up for assault. He should, in fact, be, because, like, it's outrageous. You just punch someone because they beat you. But, you know, there's the juxtaposition of love and the ego thought system. It was just lovely. Like, halftime was wonderful, beautiful. I loved it. Highlights of the game, and then an hour later, you know, you get these guys fisticuffs on the pitch, and just incredibly bad losers, and it's like the dark side of it. So there's the truth and illusion. You know, choose what you're going to make real. But, you know, in the end, the better team won, and everyone was happy, I think, except the Argentinians. But, you know, the rest of the world were like, you guys have got to lose, because it's just like,
no, they're fighting a lot. Really,
this isn't the way football should be played.
Yeah, it was
And,
really
you don't deserve
dirty playing.
If they'd won the World Cup, it would have been an absolute travesty. It would have been like justice.
It's sad because, you know, the team's led by Messi, who's, you know, arguably like greatest player. You know, it's like,
Well, you see, he was crying, and I don't think that was just.
I saw a photo. He was crying. Yeah.
I don't think that was just because of the loss. I think it was the manner of the loss.
Yeah.
Because you lost so badly. You disgraced your country. You didn't play football, really. You didn't turn up. You didn't play any kind of attacking, enterprising football. It wasn't even a game, really. You just defended and defended, and they were hoping it was going to go to penalties, and they'd be able to win on penalties. But that's not a football match. Like, not one shot on target the whole game until the last 10 minutes, and then they're like, okay, well, we've got to do something because we go down. You know, we've got to take some risks. But, like, just what was going on? Maybe it was deliberate tactic. Who knows? You know, the Spanish definitely the better team, but still, I mean, they were just totally, like, I don't know what happened. They did what England did. They just kind of lay down and said, okay, come at us. It's like, well, you're not going to win a game like that, surely. They did exactly what England did, and they deserved to lose.
But then, did you see Saturday night's game though? I wasn't. The friends I was with were watching it. I wasn't, but I could hear them. You know.
Yeah, I also heard it. I didn't.
Because that was amazing, wasn't it? 6-4 or something.
Yeah. No, I was just watching, going, okay, you know, it's probably not going to be a great. Gee, I mean, just if that had been the final, it would have been the greatest final ever. It was like free flowing, England scoring. Then France decided to turn up and play in the second half.
Yes.
Probably because their manager given them a right bollocking in the dressing room and said, guys, like, what the hell? You know, what are you doing? You're just asleep. And then they came back and they could have actually won because they started playing and England were like, oh, yeah, you know, now these guys are just doing like some amazing interchange passing, and it was creative. You know, it was the very opposite. It's a pity that wasn't the final, actually, because it was the very opposite of that kind of stagnant, turgid defensive football we saw in the final. It was like, okay, we're just gonna, you know, let rip because we got nothing to lose. Let's just go for it. You know, the game doesn't really matter. No one really cares whether you come third or fourth. Who cares? You know, you're out of it. So there was a freedom and a liberation of the spirit that was evident, and it was lovely to see. Like, great, that's how football should be played. And it was a good spirit, and no one's fisticuffs and punching each other, and you know, because it's like, what's the point? It's just a game of football, and we just we might as well enjoy it because you see how the outcome again comes in. This is where it's so important to recognize the spiritual principles. As soon as you get too attached and too invested in the outcome, you lose touch with love and you lose the flow. And that's exactly what happened to Argentinians. It became all about the outcome. We've just got to win. And we forget about the process. We forget about the game and playing good football. And we forget about standards of conduct and sportsmanship. No, because we just got to win. And as soon as you do that, guess what? You lost the real game. And then, unsurprisingly, you actually lose the game on the level of form because you are out of alignment on a spiritual level. And that doesn't work. It's not sustainable. There was no way. I was like, spiritually, there's no way these guys can win, given how they've behaved. You know, it was like, Spain have to win this. It's like, if they don't win, I'll be absolutely shocked. Because the truth is true. Ultimately, the truth comes out, and the truth will triumph ultimately in every situation. And so it proved. So, you know, in the end, justice is done. And that's a lesson for everyone. That's a lesson for the world. It's a lesson for Argentinians. Like, okay, clean up your act. You know, hopefully they have a inquiry and a review, and those players are you know, like, there's some kind of punishment. You can't do that, guys. You disgraced your country in front of the whole world. Like, what does everyone know Argentina for? Foul play and incredibly bad sportsmanship and bad losers. And you punch your opponents because you lost. I mean, like, what nation wants to be known as that? Whereas the Spanish, credit to them, were fairly impeccable. You know, they didn't get provoked. They held their composure. They were calm. They were cool. They didn't get rattled. So, you know, there was, again, a spiritual principle of like, okay, we're going to stay calm. We're going to stay cool, stay collected, and we're just going to beat you with better football. Simple as that, which they did. So, yeah, just, again, you know, you can learn a lot from watching something as simple as football, because there's these spiritual principles at play, and you know, there's a lesson to be learned. Which is why I enjoy watching these. You know, it's not, the game itself's like, okay, well, whoever wins or loses, but what's the interplay? What's the drama that plays out? And then, you know, once you understand truth and illusion, you can see how those two forces are playing themselves out, especially when there's pressure. You know, those definitely come to the fore, and that's the real test. You know, for the players and the coaches and so on. You know, can you stay true to the truth under pressure when there is enormous pressure to win, no doubt, but can you just forget about that and just play the game and just enjoy it and enjoy the occasion? You know, easier said than done, but we saw that on the Saturday, and it was just like, well, that would have been an amazing final. It would have been the greatest final ever. The most goals ever, just this free-flowing football. Yeah, amazing to watch, really entertaining, played in a good spirit. That should have been the final, not Spain, Argentina. But as soon as it's a final and there's an outcome and it really counts, what happens? The guys go, they get very restricted and defensive and so on. And then the flow doesn't happen. I mean, Argentina, a better team than that. They could have played better. They could have attacked more, but they didn't. Maybe because they just were so desperate to win. They were like, okay, well, if we just defend and defend, maybe we can get to the end and win it on penalties. Maybe that was their plan. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, shall we carry on there? Number 5, no law the world obeys.
No law the world obeys can help you grasp love's meaning.
No law the world obeys can help me understand love's meaning.
What the world believes was made to hide love. What the world believes was made to hide love's meaning and to keep it dark and secret.
What the world believes was made to hide love's meaning and to keep it limited and obscure.
There is not one principle the world upholds, but violates the truth of what love is and what you are as well.
Every principle the world upholds as true violates the truth of what love or abundance is and what I am as well. No law in the world obeys can help me understand love's meaning. What the world believes was made to hide love's meaning and to keep it limited and obscure. Every principle the world upholds as true violates the truth of what love or abundance is and what I am as well.
He's saying that really, really clearly, isn't it? So the laws of the world deny love's meaning. You can't find love in the laws of the world. And if you try, you're just going to be frustrated and confused. Because they are the laws of the ego that is set against love. That's the denial of love, that negates love. And now you're starting to understand why the world is the way it is, why it's set up the way it is, why there seems to be so little love, why there's all this darkness and fear and anger and attack. And these laws seem to make no sense. These laws seem to be laws of pain and suffering and death. Well, yes, because that's the way they're designed. It's so radical, but really helpful to understand that this is the truth, because then you can make a choice against them. Say, okay, so the laws of the world are rubbish. I'm not going to believe in those anymore. I'm going to believe in only the law of love, and that's going to be my guide in life. Despite the illusions of the world, I don't have to believe in them. They can't force me to believe in them. Okay, so seek not within the world.
Seek not within the world. Yeah, seek not within the world to find yourself.
I will not seek within the world to find myself.
Love is not found in darkness and in death.
Love or abundance is not found in negative awareness and death.
Yet it is perfectly apparent to the eyes that see and ears that hear love's voice.
Yet it is perfectly apparent to the eyes that see truly and ears that hear love's voice.
Today we practice making free your mind of all the laws you think you must obey, of all the limits under which you live, and all the changes that you think are part of human destiny.
Today I will practice freeing my mind from all the laws I think I must obey, all the limits with which I seem to live, and all the changes that I think are part of human destiny.
Today we take the largest single step this course requests in your advance towards its established goal.
I take the largest single step this course requests in my advance towards its established goal. So from the top, I will not seek within the world to find myself. Love or abundance is not found in negative awareness and death. Yet it is perfectly apparent to the eyes that see truly and ears that hear love's voice. Today I will practice freeing my mind from all the laws I think I must obey, all the limits with which I seem to live, and all the changes that I think are part of human destiny. Today I take the largest single step this course requests in my advance towards its established goal.
Okay, so thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it's summed up in the first sentence. I will not seek within the world to find myself. So, yeah.
You remember what Trinity says to Neo when they're in the car on the way to Oracle? It's exactly that. He's saying, so, I'm looking out the window. I have all these memories of my life here, but they never really happened. What does that mean? And she responds by saying, it means that you cannot, that the matrix cannot tell you who you are. I don't seek within the matrix, the world, to find yourself, because you'll never find it. You'll only find it in a transcendent self that transcends the illusion of a separate self. By letting go of the world, you find it, you see. So you cut away all of your misperceptions about the world and about yourself, and then your true self reveals itself. So forgiveness or letting go is the practice of coming to know yourself. That's how you learn you are. So when Introduco was on earlier, he said, well, how do you do this? You learn to let go systematically and progressively of everything that makes up your separate self. And you do that as and when it arises. Whenever the separate self arises, which it does all the time, you look at it and you practice letting it go, knowing that that process is going to reveal who you really are, ultimately. And in the present moment, make you feel better. Simple, you'll find more peace by doing that. Okay. Happy to go to number 7. If you achieve the faintest glimmering.
If you achieve the faintest glimmering of what love means today, you have advanced in distance without measure and in time beyond the count of years to your release.
I achieve the faintest glimmering of what love or abundance means today. I have advanced in distance without measure and in time beyond the count of years to my release.
Let us together then be glad to give some time to God today and understand there is no better use for time than this.
Therefore, I am glad to give some time to experience pure formless, perfect love or abundance today and understand there is no better use of time than this. And from the top, if I achieve the faintest glimmering of what love or abundance means today, I have advanced in distance without measure and in time beyond the count of years to my release. Therefore, I'm glad to give some time to experience pure formless awareness of perfect love or abundance today and understand there is no better use for time than this.
And then, Jonathan, do you want to add the word awareness after pure formless?
Yeah, we got that again. Yeah. Okay, so thoughts on that?
With this practice, if I get to achieve just a glimmer or slither of this experience of pure formless awareness kind of made great strides.
Mm.
Hence, understand that it's well worth using the time to do this practice.
Yeah, that's what time is for. It's to connect with our source, to discover who we are. And the ego is going to say, a waste of time. And get you to spend time on all kinds of other illusory things. But there's no better use for time than this, because this is what time is for. And in the Holy Spirit's interpretation, the only thing time is for awakening to who you really are, and ultimately transcending time.
Yeah.
The ego obviously has other thoughts about time. It's got many other uses for time, but we have to learn to ignore those and realize that only the truth is true. All right, so a few more. What's the time? Should we go into meditation?
Yeah, that would be nice.
I'll guide you through the rest in meditation, because it does go on, but he's now beginning the practice, 15 minutes twice today, escape from every law in which you now believe, and open your mind and rest. Maybe let's just read number 8 as an intro to the meditation, and then we'll go into it.
Okay. For 15 minutes twice today, escape from every law in which you now believe.
Okay, Archie. Oh, sorry. Are we doing it sentence by sentence? I thought we were just going to read the alternative.
Yeah.
Sorry. For 15 minutes twice today, I will escape from every law in which I now believe.
Open your mind and rest.
I will open my mind and rest.
I can escape. The world that seems to hold you prisoner can be escaped by anyone who does not hold it dear.
I can escape from the world that seems to hold me prisoner if I think that should be if I do not value it.
Thanks.
Withdraw all value you have placed upon its meager offerings and senseless gifts, and let the gift of God replace them all.
I will withdraw all value I have placed upon the meager offerings and senseless gifts, and let the gift of perfect love or abundance replace them all. So from the top, for 15 minutes twice today, I will escape from every law in which I now believe. I will open my mind and rest. I can escape from the world that seems to hold me prisoner if I do not value it. I will withdraw all value I have placed upon its meager offerings and senseless gifts, and let the gift of perfect love or abundance replace them all.
Yeah, so nice invitation to us. So, and we go into meditation, and we can escape all these laws because they're just beliefs in the end of the day. When you're in meditation, you don't have to do anything. People say, well, how do I escape the laws of the world when I have responsibilities, I've got bills to pay, I've got a family to raise? Yeah, so you have to kind of deal with those laws on a practical level. But in your spiritual practice, you can find a state of mind in your own mind where you completely beyond those, and you can go there in a meditation, and that's what he's inviting us to do here. So yeah, let's dive in, shall we? Do a meditation to end it. Okay, so get ready. Okay. So this is a meditation. And today's lesson, lesson 127. We're invited to go into a state where we escape from every law in which we now believe. Open our minds and rest in the truth by learning not to value the world, destroying all value that you have given to its meager offerings and senseless gifts, as Isha puts it, and let the gift of perfect love or abundance replace them all. So to begin, just breathing in, noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises. And the subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Just breathing in. Hold the breath briefly. Scan your mind. Noticing any thoughts, any emotions, related body sensations going on. Anything that seems disturbing to your peace, anything negative. Just breathe in, and in that process of the breath, just invite in your source of all abundance, the source of life. Be certain that its voice will answer you, because pure formless awareness of perfect love or abundance itself has promised us that ultimately you will hear its voice and you will answer it. And it will ignite a spark of truth or abundance within your mind. Whenever you give up a false belief, a limited illusion of your own reality and what love or abundance means. So just do that now. Breathe in the truth into every pore, every cell, every muscle of your body, every part of your mind, every fiber of your being is in this truth, and exhale. And just let it go. Let go of whatever false belief, limited illusion of your own reality, belief in what love or abundance means. That is behind any pain or suffering you may experience. It's always a false belief. You're willing to go to the level of that belief and just let it go with the breath, blowing it all away with the breeze of your breath to the nothingness that it really is. And that's going to help you understand the truth of love or abundance. In the gap between breaths, just maybe you get a little glimmer of that truth. It's peaceful, it's happy, it's contented. And loving gentleness. It will bless me. Say that. It's going to be with me, bless me. As I allow its voice to teach love's meaning to my clean and open mind. So breathe in again and just embrace the deeper meaning of love, which is perfect oneness, perfect truth, perfect abundance, limitless, infinite, eternal, never ending. Allow it to, its voice, to teach love's meaning to this clean, open, willing mind that you have. And allow this lesson to be blessed with its love or abundance. So just breathe out through your nostrils, observing the subtle sensations of your breath flowing in. Feel the blessings. Use the breath to invite them into every pore, every cell of your body. Maybe you visualize a white or golden yellow light flowing into every pore, every cell, every muscle of your body. So today, says Yeshua, the legion of the future years of waiting for salvation or awakening disappears for the timelessness of what you will learn. So give thanks today that you're spared a future like the past. Today I leave the past behind me, never more to be remembered. And I will perceive a different presence in which a future dawns that is unlike the past in every respect. They're just sinking inward to this holy place, state of mind, in which a new world is born in your perception. A new world arises. And watch it grow in health and strength. to bless all who come to learn to let go of the world they thought was made in hate, to be love's enemy. And now they're all set free along with me. Now they are all my companions in this exalted state of pure formless awareness, which is perfect love or abundance. Feel this truth, this reality. Everyone in perfect love or oneness is your brother, your companion, irrespective of what they think, what they say, and what they do. None of that affects their true reality. And now just practice with one person. Think of someone who makes the journey with you and who came to learn what you must learn. And as this person comes to mind, say to them, give them this message from your true self, capital self. May I bless you, my companion, with the pure formless awareness of perfect love or abundance, which I want to share with you. I want to learn the joyful lesson that there is no love or abundance but that of pure formless awareness. Say to this person, I bless you, my companion. It's the oceanic love of God, this love of perfect love, which is all-encompassing, whole, complete. The reality of every drop in the ocean is it's part of the ocean. Individual drops on their own don't make much, but every drop adds to this, the whole of love. and just share it. Pick why we learn the joyous lesson. There is no love except God's love or perfect love's love in you. The joyous lesson is there is no love except God's love, perfect love's love in you, in everyone. So it's in this brother you're thinking of, it's in you. And when you recognize this perfect love is there, the imperfect love, special love is eliminated. In your mind. Truth is that only perfect love really exists, which is the atonement or the atonement principle. Only love is real. To accept the atonement means to accept that this principle applies to me. In other words, only perfect love really exists in me. So just get a sense of feeling of this perfect love. It's the only thing that's real. It's the only thing that really exists. And that it's here right now. And there's nowhere else to go, nothing else to do, nothing else to think about. Breathe, relax, and be still. Just sink inwards, go down into the truth of perfect love. Nowhere else to go, nothing else to do. Just breathe in and out through the nose. Just be quiet, silent for a couple of minutes. Nowhere else to go. Nothing else to do, nothing else to think about. The next few minutes, just breathe, relax, be still, and surrender into this principle that there is no love except perfect love. Any thoughts come up to seemingly disturb this perfect loving awareness? Thoughts about the world? Thoughts about the laws of the world? She was explicitly saying you need to let go of your belief in order to be free. Just for another minute or so, let everything else go and just sink into this remembrance of who you really are, perfect love or abundance, as a felt, direct experience. It's not theoretical, it's not obscured by anything, fancy words. Just sink into perfect love or abundance, which is your true awareness, which is your true self. Nothing else to do, nowhere else to go. Just breathe, relax, be still, and sink into it. Sink into the truth. And away from illusions. Just gently coming out now. In this deep connected state, and then come back into an awareness of your body and the breath, senses, and the world. And on the count of 3, you're going to open your eyes. So 1, just breathing in, noticing how the stomach rises, the chest rises, subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Pausing at the top of the inhale. Smile, scan your mind. Noticing thoughts, emotions, body sensations. You breathe in. There's the subtle flow of air in through your nostrils. Clenching a sphincter muscle to lock the energy in. Drawing the energy up your spine. Just letting go of anything that seems to disturb your peace. Blowing it away with the breeze of your breath. The nothingness that it really is. Going, gone. Lower stomach into the spine, expel the last remaining air out. And just rest in this perfect loving awareness. The bottom of the exhale, notice the weight of your body. Pressing down into the chair, your feet touching the ground, noticing what feeling, touching. Maybe there's a subtle taste in your mouth, smell in your nose. Notice what you're hearing in the surrounding environment, just noticing all these things from this very still, calm, and surrendered state. State of mind without illusions. Notice how peaceful and happy and joyful this feels. This is home. Feel connected, safe, secure, happy, peaceful, inspired about life. So noticing what you're touching and feeling. Maybe there's a subtle taste in your mouth, a smell in your nose as you breathe in. Notice that. Notice what you're hearing, the surrounding environment. Noticing all these things from this very still, calm, and surrendered state. State of mind in which you recognize experientially that only love is real. There is no love but perfect loves. So just notice this very calm, peaceful, connected state. I want to anchor this state in for the rest of the evening and on into tomorrow by noticing it, setting the intention to do that. So it is said and so it is done. And now on the count of 3, you're going to open your eyes. Just take a minute to look around, ground yourself back into this world, noticing everything with fresh eyes, a fresh perception. Anchor the state in, set the intention to stay here for the rest of the evening. And say one more time, maybe just bring one person to mind. I bless you, my companion, the pure formless awareness of perfect love or abundance, which I want to share with you. For I want to learn the joyful lesson that there is no love or abundance But that of pure formless awareness, or abundance, and yours and mine and everyone's. So we have been called to learn this lesson. There's only one awareness, one truth, one love, one abundance, and we are all it. So just bless this person in this understanding, in this knowledge. So it's said, so it's done. And continue on with your evening, probably off to bed, I'm imagining. So that brings us to the end of the session and tonight's meditation as well. All right, so I will thank you, Kim and Archie. I will see you later in the week. I think we said Thursday, right?
Yes. Yeah. Thank you, Jonathan.
Thursday, 5 o'clock, was it?
I think so, yes.
Yeah,
You just
Thursday, 5. So join us again then, Kim, if you can. And yeah, maybe we'll have Ntatuko back and Elaine. And let's actually message Patricia as well, because she just disappeared again. So she does that from time to time. I'll invite everyone to come on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so see you then. 6 o'clock your time, Kim. 5 UK time. Have a good week in the meantime.
Yeah. Thank you.
Sleep well. Namaste.
Yeah. Namaste. Thanks. Good night.
Bye.
Namaste. Good night. Okay, bye.
All right, so that is a wrap for today. If you enjoyed that session, then a couple of things you can do. Why not hit the subscribe button, and you'll be notified whenever I go live, which is twice a week at the moment. You can catch it live on the live stream or recorded. And you could also go to lifebuild.com, and there you can put in your mobile number, and you'll be added to. You'll actually get a link. That's how it works. You'll get a link to join the Life Build group on Telegram, to which I send a daily inspirational quote and some comments on that, and other mind training material like the workbook lesson adapted today. Pretty much what you saw today. You get that in a shortened version on Telegram, along with mini meditation to help you practice the lesson. Sometimes some other resources like another talk, recording of a discussion session, or a movie, or a video posted by someone like Eckhart Tolle. And you'll also get invitations to join these sessions in Zoom. So all in all, I think pretty good offering. It's completely free. Check it out at lifebuild.com, and I hope you'll join the group and perhaps one of these sessions at some point. So thanks for watching or listening, and namaste, which means the love in me acknowledges and honors that same perfect love in you. And wishing you much peace, joy, happiness, and all blessings in that love. Bye for now. Hope to see you soon.